Hey, what's up? It's Ryan. Real quick, before we get into this week's episode of the THC podcast, I'm doing an upcoming webinar. It's going to teach you how to generate your own leads, how to close your own sales. And when you are a salesperson in the modern marketplace and you can go get leads and close them, you are your own little cash machine. You can get raises, bonuses, sign-ons, everything else. I'm going to show you how to do all this on an upcoming seminar that we're going to create online, so you don't even have to leave your house to check it out. Just go over to hcwebinar.com. Again, get registered because there's limited space. Go to webinar. We'll only let me put a certain amount of people on there. It's hcwebinar.com, and let me show you through this online learning experience how badass you can become by generating your own leads and closing your own sales. Now let's get into the show. What up, everybody? Welcome to the Hardcore Closer podcast. I am Ryan Stewman, president, CEO, all the founder, all that good shit of hardcorecloser.com. And this podcast is all about helping you, the salesperson, close more deals. Listen, if you're selling cars, homes, financial services, consulting, whatever it is, personal training, lawyering, teething with your dentist, right? Attorneying, judging, whatever it is that you do, right? This podcast is dedicated to help you generate more leads, higher quality leads, increase your closing ratios, and show you how to charge premium fees so that you can get paid what you're worth. Welcome to the Hardcore Closer podcast, or as we call it on the streets, the THC podcast, right? And that's just how we're rolling. So welcome to episode 36. And, I'm happy you're here. If this is your first time, no two shows are the same. We start them all off different. This isn't just some canned welcome to the show bullshit intro. We tried that before when it was cool years ago, but we have evolved beyond that at this point. But again, we're at episode 36. If this is your first time, be sure to check out the previous episodes. And after this one's over, if you're done listening, if your ears are on fire, if you're feeling it, if you're feeling the vibe, head over to YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you head down below, leave us a comment, leave us a thumbs up. If you're on SoundCloud, same thing. But for those of you that listen to this on the podcast, on iTunes, make sure you leave me a 5-star review. I need that shit. I have a goal to reach 300 million salespeople and help them change their lives. And that's never going to happen all by myself. I need you. You're part of the family now. You're part of the sales community. You're here listening to this. Whoever it was that shared this with you or invited you or however you searched and found this, you're part of our family now. And I need us to work together to reach this goal so that we can help impact more people, like the impact, if this is not your first time, like the impact that I've made for you in the past, which is why you've returned here. Just help me help other people. That's the whole point of this, right? We don't ever sell anything here. I'm not here peddling. I don't have any sponsors, none of that stuff. I'm just here to help you guys, and I need your help. And that all starts with leaving me a review on iTunes. See, that is a hell of a sales pitch, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all write that down, have it transcribed. See, you got to make it bigger than yourself. See, that's the cool thing is I give you a sales pitch and I'm going to break it down. You got to make it bigger than yourself. Give people something to believe in, damn it. So go over there and leave me a review so that we can have complete world peace among the sales community. How about that? All right, like this person right here, Rob Draymond. Hey, check it out. We got a fucking normal name for once. If you've listened to the show for a while, you know that Rob thinks it's hilarious to give us like the stupidest fucking usernames ever. Rob is our producer, and he's got how normal name here is Rob as well. This is probably fake, right? The first one that has a normal name is the fakest of all, and it seems like they're all in April. Like, did you guys just go leave a slew of reviews in April? Or does he keep just using the same damn date? I'm sketchy with these reviews, right? I try to have ethics and honesty and all that shit. I don't want any canned stuff on here. So you guys go over there and leave me a review and make sure that these reviews that I'm talking about that left me a reviews are real reviews so that we're not getting review duped. Okay, this is from Rob Draymond. He said, the Hardcore Closer podcast, it has 5 stars. If you followed Ryan Stewman for a while, you already know what to expect. It's straightforward, no nonsense, right to the point sales talk. I've followed Ryan since reading his first book, Hardcore Closer, and after finding him on YouTube. So, hey, that's awesome, man. It's pretty crazy, Rob, how we like connect with people, right? You just happen to find me on YouTube, then you read my books. Like, it's awesome. Now you're on the podcast. The next thing you know, I'm in your back seats, chicken wire stretched out. Anyway, it's a line from him now. All right, let's jump into the episode. This week, we're going to talk about ways to finish stuff. You know, a lot of people always say, man, I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm doing things, I'm making things happen. They never say I'm finishing deals. There's a difference why I'm not the hardcore salesman. There's a difference why this isn't the hardcore sales podcast. There's a reason behind all that. The reason why I'm the hardcore closer, this is the hardcore closer podcast, because we finish what we start. I know I do. A lot of folks don't. A lot of folks, they get started on things. And here's the thing, when you finish stuff, when you get in for the close, that's when the shit gets real. That's what a close is the finish, correct? When you close a sale, that means it's finished and you've exchanged credit cards for commissions. And a lot of people are scared of the close. We know, us closers, we know motherfuckers fear the close. They're scared of what? We say the number one problem they have in sales is they fail to ask for the business, because that's when the close begins, and that's when shit gets uncomfortable, and that's when the fear of rejection sets in for most people. But that's not just a sales thing, ladies and gentlemen. That's not just something that happens in sales. You see, fearing the close is something that happens in life. The guy fears the rejection from the woman, so he doesn't ask her out. The woman fears the rejection from a man, so she doesn't ask him out. The guy fears the rejection from his boss, so he doesn't ask for the bonus. The guy fears the rejection from his boss, so he doesn't ask for the additional commission. He doesn't ask for the raise. He doesn't ask for the promotion. This fear of closing the deal, because if you ask the boss and your sales pitch sucks and you can't convince the boss, and then you are rejected, people are scared to death of rejection. Matter of fact, the number one fear in Americans is not fucking nuclear war with Russia. It's not polar bears and fucking those motherfuckers are killing. They look all cute and shit on the Discovery Channel, but what they don't show you is that they're white bears with these blood-filled, they're fucking fish anyway. So they don't people aren't scared of those things as much as they're scared of public speaking. How fucking weird is that? But think about this. Because with public speaking, they are scared of rejection. They're scared they're going to get up there, say something stupid, and the audience will reject them. And when you go in for the close, if you do not close something, if you do not make that final sale, that final agreement, the grand finale in a series of smaller agreements, which is what the close is, if you do not close that deal and you face rejection, it's painful. You know, don't judge me, but I was watching this Katy Perry video this morning, and like her boyfriend, she caught him cheating, and she cut all her hair off and shit like that. I mean, rejection's hard on people. Now, I know that's a video. It's a cool song. Hey, I like Katy Perry. Y'all, you seen her? You should like her too, especially the male audience here. Anyway, rejection does weird shit to people. That's why you see sales guys that are my age that are bald as fuck and out of shape and everything else, because they fucking pulled their fucking hair out because they've been in this stressful environment. I have a buddy, man, that I'm not going to name names, but when I was in federal prison, we were in federal prison together. And that's where I met this gentleman. And when we were in federal prison, this dude was fucking ripped, right? And I'm talking about fucking ripped, like Fabio type shit, man. And when I needed a job, he gave me a job, and he had been in this desk job selling shit for about 2 years. He got out of prison about the same time I did, and he was, the head honcho at this place. He'd worked himself up from the bottom, so, hey, there's hope for you guys, right? I'm not the only one that's done this. This guy was fucking killing it, making $250,000 a year selling stuff. But, man, when I got back together with him, and started working for him, he'd put on 50 pounds, man. His hair had changed colors from normal to gray, man. He was stressed the fuck out. Because, man, when you face rejection on a regular basis, it does weird stuff to you. So people have this huge innate fear of rejection, so they fear the close. And that carries over not just in sales, but in life in general. When you make a product and you don't finish it, guess what? When you don't finish it, you don't really face that rejection, right? Because you never really gave anybody the offer in order to reject you. You see, if you don't ask for the business and they don't tell you a firm no, then you weren't really rejected. You just didn't make it happen. We play these fucking games with ourselves all the time. And the difference between somebody who makes high 6, 7, 8, 9 figures a year selling whatever it is that they are and a normal person is the close. And the ability to face rejection. However, being able to deal with rejection, if you're one of these people that cold calls and faces rejection hundreds of times a day, man, that shit gets exhausting. And so we refuse to finish stuff. But the difference maker is those of us that finish, and those of us that stay committed are those of us that earn the most. It has been proven time and time again. Steve Jobs didn't just come up, one of the greatest salesmen ever, by the way, didn't just come up with an idea for a phone. I believe he personally prolonged his life as much as he could, not because of the money, but because he wanted to finish what he started, ladies and gentlemen. You see, that's the difference between the people that have money and the people that don't have money, is the people that have money finish. The people that have money in sales close. The people that have money in life finish. The people that have the perfect relationships finish. The people that do what needs to be done and see it and have what they want in their life have finished in order to make that happen. So today, I'm going to give you some power tips on how to finish what you start, right? Like lots of people say, hey, I'm going to go and I'm going to create a website, and they go get a domain and they upload a blog and they never put pictures to it. A lot of people say, oh, I'm going to run an ad on Facebook. I have somebody hit me up the other day. They're like, I spent $300 on Facebook and I only got 2 leads and I'm not rich yet. Well, fuck. Really? Because I've spent $250,000 this year and I don't think I'm like quote unquote rich yet either. Like this is a constant scale game. At least you know, okay, leads cost you $150 each. How can you be a scientist and start breaking this shit down, right? Like people just see these big grand pictures because they don't want to finish stuff. They want an excuse not to finish it so they can say, oh, it didn't work out, not oh, I fucked up. But today, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to teach you how to finish stuff. Power tips to finish. I got 7 of them, I believe, today. I do. I got 7 because what internet podcasts, or really it doesn't matter on the podcast, but on my blog post, it's got to be an odd number. Have you guys read the shit on BuzzFeed? BuzzFeed ain't telling you 8 ways to do cool shit. It's 7 or 9, motherfucker. Get it right. All right, power tip to get shit finished is number 1 is what the fuck, define finish. What the fuck does finish look like? A lot of people don't even know what the final the final product, the end result of all their effort actually looks like, so they don't even know that they didn't finish. How fucked up is that? They're still following up with somebody that already bought the car. They're still following up with somebody who's already got a mortgage and moved on and sold their house. And they're following up on somebody who's got insurance with the little lizard dude, and they don't need your guy in khaki and a red shirt. So you have to define what finish means. Because you could be chasing something thinking it's unclosed and it couldn't be closed. And you have to understand, if you're going to start something and then do it all the way till it's finished, you have to define what finish means. So when I start a book, I'll give you an example. When I start a book, in order for me to finish the book, that means that book has a cover and is in my hands as a physical book. That means finished. To some people, because I've helped quite a few people write a book, to some people finish means they've got all the words down, but now they don't have a cover and they never took it to print. And I get it, because they're scared of what if I put this book out there and the marketplace tells me it sucks. Rejection hurts. It ain't for everybody. But I define what finish looks like to me. See, finish to them may be, hey, I got it written. Hey, I wrote my book. That's all I wanted. To me, the finished product is having the book in my hand so I can put it in more people's hands. So define what finish means. When I write a blog post, right? When I set myself to finish what I start, when I write a blog post, the average blog post is 300 words. My average blog post is 1,400 words. So I'm a little bit of an overachiever, but I like to explain things, and I'm a little wordy, in case you haven't noticed. So when I write a blog post, I sit down and I say, I'm not getting up till I'm finished. Finish means that it's off to the editor with the images and the hyperlinks already installed and scheduled to come out on the blog. That's what finish means. That's when I'll step away from my desk. That's when I'll mark this task as done. So define what finish means. So if you're going to start something, make sure that it's worth finishing. And see, most of us start stuff and then we've never done the math. We've never got logistical. We've never looked at things from an outside perspective. We've never looked at what it takes to close or to finish what we started. And then what happens? We get through it and we never finish it. And we find out that it was a waste of time, effort, and money because we didn't look at the end from the beginning. Think about a stock analyst. They look for trends. They look at the present, which would be the end, all the way back to the beginning. They say this company or this index or this fund has a 20-year history of XYZ. They're looking from now, which would be the end in their sentence, to the beginning. So define what finish is, and what this will do for you is this will save you a tremendous amount of time, because most of the time we get started on shit and then we realize it sucks. If you start thinking about what the finished product, the end result is, and if you define that up front, you may find oftentimes that you don't want to fuck with it. You're welcome. Power tip number 2, quit fucking around with other stuff. Yes, I'm on one today. If this is your first time here, we cuss a little bit, or I'm not schizophrenic. Robert is on the other line, so I feel like it's a we, but we're not French, so I cuss a lot, and so does Robert, that fuck. And so, hey, deal with it, or you can bail. Well, I know most of y'all, if you're in sales, you cuss, so let's just keep going. So quit fucking around with other stuff. See, here's the problem. You start getting focused on, like right now, I'm focused on this one product. And this one thing is going to change forever the way that we're doing stuff over here. I'm super excited about it. Right now, I've got other people trying to do other stuff with me. And man, I've got to put it on hold because I'm focused on this one product. I was just at my man Frank Kern's house a couple of days ago and asked him what he's up to. And he's like, man, I'm focused on doing this one thing and I'm not doing anything else. He goes, I've got requests from here. I've got proposals from here and I'm not fucking with any of it until I'm done. Because he knows that when you finish stuff, that's when the money begins. You see, you can have the fear of rejection when you go into a sale, but if you close it, that's when you get the money. When you have the fear of rejection of finishing something, but if you sell it, if you finish it, if you complete it, if the result is there, then you get the benefit from it. If it's bad, that doesn't mean you have to scratch it and start all over. That means you get a chance to improve it. If the marketplace rejects it, that means you get a chance to learn and have experience so that you can find out what the fuck they really want. And then you can sell them that accordingly. You may sell them the same thing, just pitched a different way. It's always a learning experience, but you've got to quit fucking with other shit. You see, what happens is somebody launches something, it doesn't live up to the grandiose expectations they have because nobody gives a shit about your stuff as much as you do, but it doesn't live up to these grandiose expectations that you have, and then you fucking quit, and then you start fucking with other stuff. When you say finished, you need to have it mapped all the way out, launch finished, and then stick with it. None of my programs would sell if we didn't keep pushing them. Quit fucking with other stuff. Power tip number 3, stay away from idealists. You know, you get to working on something, and here's how it works in my life. When I give somebody an idea, like on my team, I'm like, hey, here's what we're doing. First of all, it's not an idea. It's like, here's what's happening. Here's a process. We don't call them ideas over here at Hardcore Closer. We're like, here's the process. And they don't go, well, what if we do this? Or what if we do that? They're like, awesome. Do you want to add this? Awesome. Okay, no, perfect. Do you think this? No, perfect. And we roll with it and make it happen. We don't have a bunch of, and we can do this and we can do that. We know at this point, my team works so well together. We know at this point that if that conversation can exist once we get the bare bones up and running and profitable, then we can add other stuff to it. So we stay away from the idealists. We don't let people come around. If I'm focused on this, I'm not going to go talk to one of my friends, God bless them, but I'm not going to go talk to one of my friends that's going to overcomplicate and convolute this. Now we've got a process that's real simple. So you got to stay away. Oftentimes when I was doing multi-level marketing, yes, there was a small stint where I sold multi-level marketing online. When I did that, everybody was hitting me up trying to get me into their opportunity and their opportunity. Leave the one that you're in. But I'm like, listen, I've got an end result in mind and I'm focused on this. And I had to find a way to stay away from idealists. I know a lot of you do MLM on the side that listen to this. And, I'm not, I don't like that, but I'm not against it. It's just not for me. And I know that there's a lot of idealists in that can distract you. Just stay the fuck away from those people. Power tip number 4, map that shit out. Map it out. Map it out. Like, what are the steps? And again, this is something that's similar to power tip 1 in a sense of, 1, you know what the end result is, and is that what you really want? So oftentimes that allows you to go, well, shit, that's not even what I want. That doesn't even really work the way that I want it to. Thank God I didn't put in the work. But power tip number 4, mapping it out, is like once you define finish, what are the steps from where you are now to being finished? What are those steps? Map them out. Again, you may find it's not worth the headache. You might find it's easier than you thought. You might find a way to make gazillions. You might be the world's first gazillion. How would you feel about it? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you, John Smith, the world's first gazillionaire. What do you have to say, John? Well, I mapped it out and I started something and I finished it. It's a pretty awesome feeling. Thank you very much. I mean, imagine yourself in that position, the world's first gazillionaire. Anyway, map it out. You got to know the steps because it may be the thing that makes you gazillionaire. It may be the thing that you're like, fuck that. That sounds like a lot of hard work. I'd rather go grab a pickaxe, a shovel, and mine for gold in California hills in the desert in the middle of summer. All right, number 5, make the time to do it. Many of us are right now, like if we don't get it finished in one sit down, we won't fuck with it again. Man, map out your time. You map out appointments for your meetings. You map out appointments for your sales. You map out appointments to do your prospecting. You block out, not map out. You block out times for all those things. Block out time to finish what you start. If you start a website, block out an hour every day to work on your website. I block out 4 hours every Sunday night to write my blogs and articles. It's there on my calendar every Sunday night, 6 to 10. Sometimes it takes me a little bit longer. Sometimes it takes me less, but I'm there 6 to 10 because I have made the time. I have put it on my calendar. It exists. A lot of times as entrepreneurs and salespeople, we don't put shit on our calendar And we're like, oh, I'll get to it. Because if it's not on our calendar, it's not real. But if you put it on your calendar, guess what? That shit is real. Shit just got real. So make the time, number 5. Number 6, make it a priority. So if you put the time in, don't find an excuse. So my buddy Greg Tanner, and tribe member, good guy. If you need a mortgage out there in South Carolina, Greg Tanner is the man. Nice fella. Anyway, I could go on about Greg forever, but Greg hits me up, says he's starting a podcast to help local people. It's a radio show to help local people. He says he's going to do it every day. He said Monday through Friday, I'm going to do this every single day. And I said, that's awesome. Let me give you some advice from somebody who's been there and done that, because if you start something, you want to finish it. And if you want to finish it, you want to do it right, or you'll never finish it. He said, lay it on me. And I said, well, here's the thing. If you do this day 1, it's going to be easy. Day 2, it's going to be easy. Day 3, it's going to be easy. Day 4, whatever time slot that you made to do this, the coolest thing in the world is going to come up. Let's say you are a single guy. Greg, day 1, you did your podcast. It's awesome. Day 2, you did your podcast again. It was awesome. Day 3 at 8:30, you did your podcast again. It was awesome. Day 4 at 8:30, 2 strippers want to show up and blow you all night. But you can't do your podcast because that's the time they're showing up. That's just fucking how life happens. All right? And the coolest thing ever, like, shows up when we've got shit to do. That's just fucking, that's Mother Earth or universe or God or Allah or whatever it is that you believe in, testing your responsibility level. Most people cave. They're like, strippers and blowjobs? I'm out. And Greg, by the way, is married. He's no strippers and blowjobs. Just giving that as an example in case Greg's wife's listening. Be cool. Greg, do not share this with your wife. What are you thinking, man? Anyway, so think about this for a minute. That's like the test. And if you fall to the test, then you don't get to push things forward. So what I said is like, hey, man, in this instance, you want to prepare yourself for the strippers and blowjobs. And here's how you do it. You record 5 to 10 episodes on one day, on Monday, and then you drip them out. And then the next week, you record 5 to 10 episodes too. For example, Robert and I, because of me being on the road, I have to do this thing. And one time we even met in person and shit like that while I was on the road. So, it's not always convenient to meet on a certain specific day. And we do our best to be here, but we're about 4 or 5 shows out. That way, if something awesome happens at Tuesday at 9 a.m., I am also fortunately taken, so there will be no strippers or blowjobs for me either. But in the event that a box full of money shows up and locks me out of my house on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., I want to make sure that I'm prepared and I can be like, yo, Rob, you got to launch that episode without me, broski. I'm going to catch up with you next week. So make the time, make it a priority is number 6. Number 7, create a deadline, right? If you're going to finish something, know when you're going to finish it by. And really, if you think about it, all these tie in together. Define what finished is. Stay focused on that. Well, let's go through these real quick. Define what finished is. Pro tip number 1. Pro tip number 2, quit fucking with other stuff, right? Like, focus on that one thing. Pro tip number 3, power tip number 3, stay away from other people that might distract you. We call them idealists. Number 4, map it out. What does it look like? What are the steps? Number 5, make time for it. Schedule the time. Put it on your calendar. Number 6, make it a priority. So make sure that you have done more than you're supposed to. That way, in the event that something shows up that is a distraction, you're still on track. Number 7, because it's always got to be an odd number. I told you that guy in the beginning, guys. Number 7, create a deadline so that you know when it should be done by. Right now, the new project that we're working on that eliminates so much headache in our life has to be done the last week of December. We have specific reasons and metrics and all this metrics. We've been getting smart using big words with our mouths and stuff. Anyway, so we got metrics that we're going to follow, whatever the hell that means. I just hired this rocket scientist named James. Now he's our general manager, so he uses all these fancy words, and I'm like, oh, no shit, tell me more, scientist. Anyway, so we've got these things that we're following for the end of December, so we have an actual deadline in place. What are the steps? We map it out in a software called Trello, and we got that from our rocket scientist GM that we're using now, which is actually pretty fucking cool. And we use a flow through there. So let me give you these power tips one more time in order, and we'll let you guys get out there and start closing, aka finishing what you start. Number 1, define what finish is. Number 2, stop fucking around with other stuff. Get focused on what it is that you're doing. Number 3, stay away from people that distract you. Idealist. Number 4, map it out. What are the steps to make that happen? Number 5, make the time, make it happen. Right? Number 6, make it a priority. Make sure that you actually do it first, and make sure you stay on course to number 7. Make it to your deadline. Create a deadline so that you know when this shit is done by. So that way, we judge ourselves. So you get to the deadline and it's not finished. You have to go, oh, I'm a fucking loser. Or you go, oh, man, we decided to make this so much cooler. Let's extend the deadline. But we're still working hard on it. But most people have to go, oh, I'm a fucking loser, so they don't come up with what the actual deadline and the finished product looks like. Hey, listen, I'm doing a webinar. That's it. I'm doing a webinar. You can go check it out. Text HC webinar to 44222, HC webinar to 44222, or go over to hcwebinar.com and register. We're going to do it on GoToWebinar, so it's like limited seating and shit like this. No bullshit. It's just they're making me do it with GoToWebinar because of metrics. I'm learning about big words and shit. Anyway, so go over to hcwebinar.com, register, and let me show you what the fuck I'm up to, man. It's some cool shit. You're going to love it. Just let me holler at you from it. Let me holler at you from it. Just go to hcwebinar.com. Also, hey, check me out on social media. I'm everywhere except for Vine. That motherfucker got, man, Instagram and Snapchat smashed Vine. Vine went away. Y'all heard about that shit? Then a moment of silence for Vine. Fuck it. I never use that site anyway. Go to clixo.com, CLYXO.com /closer, and I'll see you on the next episode. Let's go close some sales.